video is initially a film study focus on Nick Emmanwori's deployment and activity level in what I would consider an extended cameo on Thursday night. 3 possessions played in the Seahawks 23-23 tie with the Las Vegas Raiders. I see some very similar usage to Kyle Hamilton in his rookie season of 2022. Mike McDonald was in his first year as DC in Baltimore then. He had just come back from Michigan. And in terms of early responsibility, I think Nick Emmanwori will benefit from some of the same things. Either called blitzes or stunts up near the box. I said this about Kyle Hamilton his rookie year, so don't be alarmed when I say this about Emmanwori right now. I feel like he's going to play better early and have more impact early, coming forward rather than moving backwards. Doesn't mean that I don't think he can cover, because I said the same thing to Ravens fans in 2022, and I didn't mean it that way then, and I certainly don't mean it now. I think he'll be utilized generally in underneath coverage stuff to benefit from his range and his athletic ability. I do wonder how often he's going to be put in read blitz situations, basically as the nickel defender lined up inside shade, inside leverage of number 2 in a typical split, that is, and have to read the backfield action and respond appropriately. Essentially, you, Emmanwori, and the way Hamilton did it his rookie year, you become a +1 defender in the box. You become a guy who can be outside of the blocking scheme and who can really come downhill and attack things. Yes, there are quarterbacks that'll put the ball in the running back's gut and kind of read you, but I think you see some evidence in Emmanwori's tackle for loss against Ashton Gianti that he can hold long enough that the quarterback has to give it and then close down from the backside, still get involved in making the tackle. In any case, Seattle's defense, really came out playing on fire. 2 interceptions, forced a punt in the Raiders' opening 4 drives. Led, I think, 16-3 at the half, thanks to a missed field goal late by Las Vegas. All 11 guys, were playing with a ton of aggression, right? But some guys really brought the flavor. I think Drake Thomas with a couple of really nice reads. Tyreek Smith, the edge defender from Ohio State, certainly down on the depth chart, but he played close to out of control, and I mean that in a good way. Mike Morris on the other side, a little bit more balanced, but that whole group was really swarming and playing downhill, even against Las Vegas' starters. Let's get the film started here. Consider this a little bit of an establishing shot. This is Smith off the left side. It's the first and 10, first possession for the Raiders. I think they've already got a first down. This horizontal action by the running back, the Raiders used a ton with Gianti on the same side as the tight end, in fact. So what I would call a gun. In this case, it's a double team or combo here on this D tackle, and then here on the second D tackle, the right tackle for the Raiders stepping to Smith, who's going to get his hands locked out on him. You can see the strike lands first on the inside, butts him, and then gets his arms extended, and that takes off running and still not give this away. I think the timing of this is something that is different for different players, right? He really does remind me of Kyle Hamilton from the standpoint of he can close space. I'm talking about from here on down to the quarterback quickly. I think he lost a step initially by not exactly getting the best timing on his blitz. The way that Seattle's accomplishing this, the right side D end or edge defender, Morris, also from Michigan, by the way, is kind of stunting inside after jabbing upfield briefly. And that's just to hold the tackle, such that it 3 when he was the DC in Baltimore. Emmanwori, once again, you've got the inside linebacker kind of apexed out. And I think this is a third down drop on a screen. There's really nothing to say here for anyone on this particular play. It's just where Emmanwori is going to be deployed, or where we saw him lined up on Thursday night. The nickel defender is normally going to be to the field 90 to 95% of the time. And you have a 2 safety alignment here facing. So it means that the boundary side attack can become a priority against the inside linebacker. I do wonder if Emmanwori will occasionally be used as a dime linebacker into the boundary. You're not seeing this at all here. Ball's on the right hash. Emmanwori is spot shadowed. So once again, he's the nickel defender out of an 11 personnel group. Little play action, completion down into the boundary. Some of these don't have anything to do with Emmanwori at all. He's not targeted on the play, number 1. Number 2, he's not involved in the coverage at all. But I bring this play up again to see the horizontal action of the running back. The Raiders use this consistently. Is it going to be a huge part of their offense? Was it specific to Seattle? I don't know, really. We did see some really nice entire in scheme. Here's kind of what I'm talking about. 11 personnel. Once again, you've got the running back, Genty, and the tight end on the same side here. What I generally refer to as A gun out of 11 personnel should be twin slot A for the terminology that I know. Emmanwori's not involved in this play. It's really Thomas who disrupts this with the left tackle stepping out to Morris. That's the orange line there. Genty is crossing the quarterback's face. We've got O'Connell in now in a horizontal fashion such that Thomas is really unblocked. Step across the quarterback's face. Now, this could just actually be a very well-timed concept. Drake Thomas basically gave us the same look or the same reaction. Emmanwori once again lined up to the field because the ball's on the left hash this time. So the nickel, once again, is 90-95% of the time lined up to the field. If you see him lined up to the boundary currently, I would say that's a dime linebacker deployment. There's the line to gain. This is like a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, something like that. And I think Emmanwori maybe gets a little bit too deep here in his drop with that being the line to gain, the 19. He's trying to get underneath of being underneath dropper, and you've got one guy who's kind of offset from that line that I just drew, but still, to me, it looks like you've got, my apologies, to me, it looks like you've got 4 underneath droppers and almost a quarter half delineation with this corner being responsible for 1/4 for 1/4 of the field, and this guy being responsible for 1/2. In any case, Emmanwori pushes the flat. I think he gets a little too deep. It didn't end up hurting Seattle at all because there was a penalty called on Las Vegas on the play. The 2 inside linebackers are going to drop out here. Same play from the end zone angle, by the way. Emmanwori is off screen to our left. Mug look, very typical from a McDonald defense that really just turns into your standard 4-man rush, but it looks like it could be a 6-man rush pre-snap to the quarterback. Chip, reason why there was so much space for the tight end to briefly convert it. 3rd down here, that's going to be a target up top against Josh Jobe. There's the route concept that we get at the bottom side of the screen. Emmanwori, once again, is spot shadowed. He's the nickel defender in a 4-2-5 alignment. Same basic personnel used on defense for the whole first 2 or 3 possessions with little rotation. Maybe a slow reaction or slow-ish. He's more athletic than this. I wonder about his eyes. You can even see his helmet here. I wonder if he's briefly looking in to see if this is a run play, because twice already he's had a wide receiver released to him. It looks like it could be a route and it ends up being a block to try to free up some space for the running back to get some space at the second level. So hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. I think that's why his eyes might be averting briefly. This is one of the times when Jobe got called for a penalty. O'Connell glances over there, then middle of the field, probably just to hold the safety, comes back where he wants to go, which I think is Dante Thorpe. Ball on the left hash, so the field is down here, the wide side of the field, however you want to refer to it. Emmanwori is spot shadowed. Once again, he's the nickel defender. Tight end, running back, same side out of 11 personnel. Very similar setup to what we've seen so far. This is the play that I talked about a little bit in the lead up here. So Emmanwori clearly is blitzing here. Why? Well, the Seahawks have seen this setup so much, running back, tight end, same side, A-gun, that they're going to go ahead and take the edge defender and try to stunt him inside of this C-gap between the tackle and the tight end. And then Emmanwori is off the edge. So really, from a responsibility standpoint, let me do this in the correct color. From a responsibility standpoint, it would be this. And then if the quarterback keeps it, we'll make the quarterback in blue, which Aiden O'Connell's not a threat to do. Emmanwori would be responsible for that. Hopefully, for a second, ensuring that it's a give to Genty and then runs things down from behind. You got to stack stuff up on the front side, and the defensive tackles and the front side edge defender, which again I think is Morris, did a nice job over here setting this edge such that Genty only had that lane there, and the D tackles and inside linebacker stacked it up. Emmanwori able to make the tackle from the backside. We'll give the end zone angle. Tight end, running back, same side. They've seen this enough at this point to be able to have adjustments to it. You got that horizontal path by Genty. Emmanwori originated off screen to our left. He's got really nice close down ability. Again, very pack coming forward as a nickel defender than you will moving backwards. Ball's on the left hash, so the field side is set down here to the bottom, where Emmanwori is spot shadowed once again as the nickel. There's the route combination. You get a little bit of a sense of what I was talking about earlier with his eyes. Now, it is just a look to the other side by the quarterback after initially trying to hold the free safety, look in the middle of the field. Now he's over on the other side. But we're focusing on Emmanwori a little bit. I think there's a possibility here that his eyes look back into the quarterback, and if this were a wheel, then theoretically the receiver could try to run up the sideline, but there's pressure on the quarterback such that he wouldn't be able to deliver the throw. Anyway, I just wonder if briefly he's averting his eyes where they necessarily shouldn't be. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Didn't end up hurting these guys at all. Quarterback had to throw it away. Could have theoretically been a penalty on that snap. I do think this one's interesting. You got a right-handed quarterback who's not incredibly mobile, so they're kind of forcing. So as a result, I'm going to use this play to kind of describe that, or at least detail to you my thought pattern on some of it. A lot of pass rushes are predetermined. It's called by the coaches, whether the quarterback is right-handed, left-handed, whether the ball is on the field, or whether which hash the ball is on, whether the field is to your left or to your right. And you can see Morris is going inside to the B gap here, and Smith is going to the top side, essentially an outside rush against a right-handed quarterback. They're really trying to flush him to their left or right on the screen. The Seahawks defense is right. Smith got a little couple of the interceptions here. This is Dante Thornton down at the bottom side, spot shadowed in blue against Job 29. You guys have seen this already a bunch. We're obviously past the time when Emmanwori is on the field. I think you've just got another version of cover 3 for the Seahawks, where those are your 3 deep defenders and your 4 underneath droppers. It looks really clean there, right where I pause it, because those guys all happen to be in a line. So if you're unfamiliar with cover 3, curl flat defender, normally to the outside, somewhere near the bottom side of the numbers. Curl flat defender, depending on field and boundary, you might get a different width. Hook to curl, and for some reason, my as soon as I grab that, sometimes the letters move. So hook to curl and hook to curl is your 4 underneath droppers with 2 curl flat guys, and then 3 defenders deep, hence the name. The second one a little bit. Once again, Emmanwori is not on the field, so I put Emmanwori as the front pick for this video, the thumbnail. I tried to talk about him some, but I do like to talk about other interesting things. This is one of my favorite coverages that McDonald has used. I recognize he's not the defensive coordinator, but I think he's heavily involved with the scheme. It's got a little bit of a 2-read or overload to the field, basically. Both of those guys are going to drop out, and they create what I would call a 4-under, 2-deep look. Now, people will call this different things. I'm not saying they're wrong. This is just the way I describe it, because from a responsibility standpoint, it is a 3rd and 8. You've got 4 underneath defenders, 2 deep guys here. To describe it in a more complicated fashion, we could certainly do. When I say that it has a palms or a 2-read flavor to it, we're talking about something like this, an out by 2, and then a vertical by 1, and allowing basically the outside corner to kind of sit on that out by 2, which is almost what happens here, but you've got a bail aspect to it. So I don't think that it's necessarily palms or 2-read to that side. I don't, but what you normally have there, cover 2 delineation. Here's the way that it works out. You can see O'Connell is sniffing this out a little bit. He actually kind of pointed at the 2 that were walked up, so maybe he knew, and then pointed to the other side for the running back. You can see right here as if he said, okay, those 2 guys are coming. Overload threat to the left, away from the running back. Maybe O'Connell's on it. You get the defensive tackle in blue there, kind of step into the right guard to hold him, not hold him from a penalty standpoint, but occupy him, I should say. And then the inside linebacker and safety to the boundary. I think it's Thomas and then 23. Those guys are blitzing 2-on-1 against the back. In this case, the running back took the inside fierce. Clearly, Emmanwori's deployment and then usage rate, I think only being in on the first 3 possessions, slightly disappointing, but the Seahawks had their strategy in terms of who they wanted to play, right? The Raiders had a different one, clearly, especially early. They had starters on the field. I think Emmanwori looks like a destructive potential coming forward, playing near the box. Perhaps some refinement or work needs to be done in terms of where he's looking. You may have a disagreement with me on it, and that's no problem. But how quickly he's reacting to things at times, I think he's got all the skills, all the athletic ability, size, and speed, especially on passing downs. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see if he's used as a dime linebacker at all. Hamilton was kind of shifted there a little bit. Essentially, dime linebacker replaces an inside linebacker on third downs into the boundary and becomes, or elevates, excuse me, your pass coverage possibilities. They sound conceptually similar, right? The nickel to the field, the dime linebacker to the boundary. I would say they're actually more dissimilar than they are the same. In any case, I think he's on a similar install and responsibility path as Hamilton early in his rookie year. Some blitz usage. I don't think you're going to see, at least from the film that we've got here, I don't think you're going to see Emmanwori on the field in every single nickel iteration. McDonald has typically had at least one version of nickel, if not two. And so what I mean is 4-2-5, four down linemen, two inside linebackers, five DBs, one of which is the nickel. He's oftentimes had two different versions of that. That's dating back to like into the one handoff to Genty. It was a called blitz. Clearly, he tracked it down from behind. And I get it, right? Aiden O'Connell and Cam Miller also really got things going in the second half to eventually tie the game, but that was against guys lower on the depth chart. I think Seattle came out playing a really nice brand of defense with the players that they had on the field, playing really fast, downhill. I enjoyed it. I couldn't really tune in until like mid second quarter or early second quarter, I guess, because I was doing my Ravens reaction video. I'll have another Seahawks film study coming out probably late tonight on the offensive line with a focus on the three starters that were in the game early. You have to let me know, who you were impressed by in terms of the young players that were out there on the field on defense. I called Nick Emmanwori's appearance an extended cameo, but really I think it was all by design, meaning McDonald knew he wanted to get him in on a certain amount of plays, certain amount of looks, and fortunately they were able to get stops. Super impressive, if you ask me, in the first half from a defensive standpoint. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section, number one. Number two, if you think other Seahawks fans would enjoy this film study look and Nick Emmanwori's rookie debut, albeit one that was in the preseason, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.